Hi guys, I'm excited to be here again. My name is Stephanie Duran. If you guys don't know me, I'm the one who started the Radical Rebel Midwife podcast, and I am the owner of Latinx Women's Health. And really, what I do focus here is just everything about the reproductive health, especially before conception, all the way through pregnancy to postpartum in the development of relationships and how all that will influence the person as a human being as growing up. Now, thank you for joining me. I'm live on YouTube and Instagram. And so, the point of this topic is when we get pregnant or we're thinking of conceiving, there's many times that we only focus on what a pregnancy requires, right? We sometimes go on a diet. Sometimes we go and want to look at cribs and bottles and clothes, and we prepare that during pregnancy time or before. However, we sometimes forget the importance of emotional healing and the emotional intelligence and being aware with ourselves when it comes to our emotions. And when we talk about violence, and this could be like drastic violence, like domestic violence, physical, emotional, but then they could be very subtle violence in the way we communicate and talk to one each other within our home dynamics. And so that's where I'm going to go at. So I'm going to start with a drastic, right? Like domestic violence. And even when it goes into manipulation and subtle stuff as a parent and things that we say, that as growing adults we laugh and like, oh my god, my mom said this and that was kind of like messed up, but ha ha ha, let's joke around. Or even in our culture, right, like a chancla, whatever. It could be whatever spectrum of violence you want to think about. Now, when everything is associated with violence is power and control. That's what it is. Power and control. As an individual, we want to have power and control. If it's on the person, if it's on the child, if it's our life, we want to have the sense of power of control. However, if we escalate, it could be very negative and could be harming for other people's mentally, emotionally, physically, and just as our whole entire well-being. And the reason why we want to have like this power and control illusion or feeling is because when we were a child, or maybe when we were in our even womb, there was a lack of safetyness. There was a lack of understanding. There was a lack of holding space for our feelings so we could explore them and understand them. And there was a lack of patience. Um, we didn't have the chance to have this self awareness and understand and someone to guide us in a very more gentle way in how to handle and dissolve our emotions. We tend to hear like, shush, be quiet, I'll smack you, you could be, crying, I'm gonna hit you, or I'm gonna, we create this intimidation and scaredness, um, and so forth. And, you know, myself as a parent, and that we acknowledge the behaviors of our parents, we could appreciate some other things and we could not appreciate other aspects of their behavior and the way they parent us. And even our negative and their negative behavior, we could sometimes still appreciate them because we feel like it develops us as a person, which it does in a certain extent. But we once we get pregnant and we give birth, we're so caught up on what the baby needs, how to manage our new life, how to create a schedule, and try not to feel so stressed, right, and overwhelmed. And then we think that's when it matters about the baby. And we forget about the womb, at the time when the baby is in the womb. And we also forget before conception how we carry ancestral wounds. That has even shown studies how it actually affects our epigenetics. And so, not only say that you did have a really good, wonderful experience and as a infant and a child because you had caregivers who are sensitive to your needs and they were attentive and it was positive response and they had this patient, and then you grew up as a child and you felt like you had this security with your child and your caregivers. However, we sometimes still develop this nature of our personalities and the way that we interact with society because of our ancestral wounds, right? There was one time I was teaching a class about our emotions, and this girl asked me, why is it that a situation could happen? And at the moment, I go from 0 being calm to 10 right away, going to this emotion of anger or annoyance and frustration, like this. But when I calm down after the situation, I realize I didn't have to get upset or be this, annoyed of the situation. It was very simple to handle. So, and that could be because our childhood, the way that our parents raised us, and the way that they react through stress and handle trauma. Or it could also be ancestral, like you just don't know why you act this way. Or people who don't know why they have so much anxiety, like my life is great, like why do I carry so much anxiety? And that could be because of ancestral stuff and situations, and of course, if you add the whole racism in there, that adds another level, another reason why people are so mean to each other. You know, until people start realizing we're all humans and we're all souls, then the dynamics will be different, right? So this is how violence can affect a child in the way that they develop and how they're going to react to a relationship. If they didn't get, their needs, they're going to attract a certain person's behavior subconsciously. Maybe they're very cold and they don't really connect with their emotions, and they're going to might probably attract someone who doesn't show their emotions. But then they're attracting the opposite and doesn't mean it's always the best thing at this moment. So having, and now we go into the subtle way, right? Like on the way that we respond to our children's crying and needs and understanding, right? And when we are able to give them the space and we are co-regulating our nervous system, so we could help them to teach them how to correlate their own nervous system and to have self-awareness of their emotion and saying this is okay that you have this emotion. It all comes in time. And this is why pregnancy dialogue is so important, because you could do childbirth class and it's going to tell you what's going on with your body and why is it doing all these things and how it's expanding. It's just a beautiful thing to know, and what to expect in the unknown of birth, right? And how to plan different plans just in case the birth goes different, different pathways. However, but once we have pregnancy, now we have the baby, right? And the baby's going to be its own individual with their own needs and their own experiences and their own feelings. And they are going to be the parent who has life, work, balance, how do you handle your stress. And sometimes a child will trigger your own triggers, right? Your own old wounds, and test your patience. And do you have the capacity and the expansion to give yourself that time as you're trying to listen to your child? So this is why doing pregnancy dialogue, pregnancy bonding, understanding yourself, it is important because it will go all the way to your adulthood and the child's adulthood. Now, if you're interested to hear more about my childbirth classes that I'll be having and my pregnancy dialogue groups, you can always go into my link on Instagram and it'll show you all the events. Or you could click on the link on YouTube and it'll give you more information. But besides that, let me know if you have any comments or questions. You could type them and comment them there, and I'll respond to you as soon as possible. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.